Welcome back to another episode of Hear What I'm Saying. Today we're diving into the transformative power of beauty as a ritual for well-being with a very special guest. Joining us is Empress, a multi-licensed beauty ritualist, textured hair specialist, herbalist, and esthetician and educator. Through her brand Root and Honey, she bridges the worlds of beauty and holistic wellness, exploring a sacred connection between self-care and community care. Empress brings a unique perspective to the conversation, blending the art and science of textured hair care with intentional beauty rituals that nurture both hair and soul. In this episode, we'll discuss the emotional impact of hair loss, holistic approaches to hair restoration, and how we can create more mindful, balanced spaces in the beauty industry. So whether you're a beauty professional, a client on a hair journey, or just someone looking for a deeper connection to your beauty rituals, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Hear What I'm Saying podcast. I'm your host, Kenitra Stewart. Today we have Empress of Root and Honey, all the way from Detroit, Michigan, joining us. Welcome to the show, Empress. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate you wanting to share your holistic perspective on how to restore hair loss. So thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Is this your first podcast?
No, this is not my first one. This is
Okay.
my second one, though.
Okay, good. That's good
Yes.
information. I just like to know, and I don't even know why I like to know. I just like to know.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
See how the flow gonna be.
Yeah. Or yeah, I guess so. The flow. And I just remember like recording my first podcast, how nervous I was.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just want to know, like, trying to feel your energy on the other side of the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Can you share a little bit about yourself and what led you to become a holistic wellness advocate and beauty ritualist?
Yes. So I'm Empress, as she said, founder of Root and Honey. My journey through holistic beauty has been a deeply personal thing and a deeply spiritual thing. So it was kind of only natural that this is the expression of it now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I grew up in some natural hair salons in Detroit, and my grandmother, my great grandmother, that I later found out was actually a cosmetologist and herbalist.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is that she passed right before she actually got her physical license. And yeah, I guess I just kind of come through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The elders in my community that have been pioneers in the industry for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I spent some time working at Textures by Nefertiti, which is a prominent salon here in Detroit.
Sound like I've heard of that.
I'm sure you have been in
Yeah, I think
Essence.
I have.
Yeah. Yeah. So, being poured into by elders, and I literally started working there when I was 14 and stayed there to recently. And, yeah, just being poured into by the women, getting the feel of being a part of the salon culture, hearing the
Mm-hmm.
conversations. Like I said, I was just around older concepts,
Mm-hmm.
holistic principles. And so it just naturally kind of came like, this is just what we do. Like, we are
Mm-hmm.
always honoring the holistic aspects of us, of each other.
Okay, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What inspired your passion for bridging the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of beauty?
Mhm. Well, it's hard, like I said, to separate, in my opinion, those things because for us as Black folk, hair was
Black folk.
never black. Hair is never just been just hair. Like,
Right.
um, especially when you look at African culture, when you look at our culture, we look at indigenous traditions. Beauty is so tied to our identity. It's
Mm-hmm.
so tied to the way that we resist in this world. Is tied to our healing, and even just like our rejuvenation, like, for our souls,
Mhm.
for our spirits.
Right.
And there's many ways that we honor those things within our culture, and hair just happens to be one of those. Like, you
For
see the
sure.
the memories of, like, being on the porch, getting your hair braided, like, going to your grandma's house to have some tea, like, these conversations, these moments where we get to nurture each other. It's
Mhm.
hard to separate that.
Mhm.
And so my work is just, like, bridging that gap and even just speaking to that, like,
Mhm.
yeah.
So it sounds like you grew up in the healthy environment of nurturing and taking care of your hair, no matter the texture.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, in our race, we can face some texturism as well. And it's not always like that, for some of us. I feel like I'm fortunate to have had the experience that you have had. But I've
Mhm.
had, guests on the show who have had the exact opposite. And and I don't know if this is something that you encounter in your salon, but I kind of encounter some of this in my chair where, psychologically, some of us have not been able to have that nurturing and that upbringing of loving their hair, no matter what
Yeah.
the texture is. I don't know if you ever had that. Have you ever had that where you had to coach a client through learning to accept what naturally coils out of their scalp? And how was that if you ever had to do that?
Yes, I have to do it quite a bit.
Right?
Um,
It's
yeah.
it's really uncommon for I feel like today it's more practice for us to,
Mhm,
as black women, if we have daughters and if we're in the
mm,
industry as cosmetologists, we're now trying to really help reverse that unhealthy emotional connection that most black women have with their naturally curly hair. And
yeah,
it's only a few of us out here that actually got the experience like that you just described?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a real thing. I often come in contact with, um, people who are coming in and they're doing this thing where they're trying a new thing,
What's the new
and
thing? Like the natural hair? Like maybe they're
yeah.
transitioning? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like, that's the new thing, like, "Oh, I'm
Mhm.
going to actually just show up the way I am." Like,
Mhm.
that's the new thing,
Right, right,
and
right.
so it does turn into this whole therapeutic thing where we're talking about the psychology, we're talking about the spiritual aspect, we're talking about your lifestyle, 'cause especially
Mhm.
working holistically, like, we're talking about what you eating, what you thinking about, what you reading, you know? So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's often though, and that's why hair is this portal and gateway to
Mhm.
actually do all of these things, like,
Mhm.
yeah, so,
Yeah. Are they, receiving the information, or have
yeah.
you ever had anyone to you just know it's deeper than what you can, assist with?
Um, a lot of the times they're very receptive.
Good.
I don't have, too many people that are not,
Mm.
um, and yeah, they're a lot of time coming because of a journey that they've been on already. So,
Mhm.
as they get to us, we're kinda one of those stops on that journey. So, like, they already understand some things about themselves,
Yeah.
that have made them want to try this and want to embrace their natural self. So
Yeah.
they're kinda already privy to that, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we are on the front line, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, literally. Literally. Um,
Oh. Why do
yeah.
you think hair is so deeply connected to self-identity, especially in textured hair communities?
Mm. I mean, our hair is legacy, so that's how I look at it is
Mhm.
our hair holds these stories, our practices hold these stories, and so hair is just the physical appearance of these things.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it is for sure. I love how you um use that as an analogy. It's like
Yeah.
the internalism.
Yeah.
And the hair is like the external of,
Yeah.
these stories,
Yeah. And
of
even the consciousness.
mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You care to, like, elaborate more on that? I like the direction that this is going in.
Yeah. So as we know, like how we present ourselves has a lot to do with where we are psychologically, where we are spiritually, even like you see the Rastafari
Mm.
people with the locks and they just let it
Mhm.
go and it's just I'm free. I'm not gonna be bound by aesthetics. And
Right.
then but also like it's a dope aesthetic. So
Right, it
but
is. It definitely is, yeah, for sure.
then you got the, people down in Florida who got the wicks going,
I
but
know,
it's a
right? Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a thing. They're honoring their Haitian ancestry and
Right,
things. So
yeah.
we've always done this, and then you take it over to the continent before we even got here. Hair
Mhm.
has always been like, "Oh, okay, you're part of this clan of people. Oh, you're royalty. Oh, you do this." Like, so it always has been this big thing for our identity. It's
Right.
never been just hair.
That's right. Girl,
Yeah.
I was like, "Let me bring it out of her, girl. Elaborate on it. Educate, please."
Yes.
'Cause I
Yes.
knew what you were talking about, but it's only because I'm in the industry and, we studied the history.
Yes.
But for a listener, they may not. So that's why I was like, "Come on, elaborate on that. Drop
Yes.
the gems and let them know, like, this is so historical."
For real,
Yeah.
it's so many layers, and
Mhm.
that's why you can't just deal with just the hair as in just a hairstylist,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
or go to people that even just view it as that because you will miss so much where there's opportunity for so much growth.
Yeah,
So,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Love that. Thank you.
No problem.
That was a great answer.
Thank you.
What are some of the most common emotional struggles people face when dealing with hair loss?
Mm, definitely, um, it's a lot of shame,
Mhm.
a lot of grief, um, and sometimes even a sense of worthlessness and visibility,
Right.
um, and just internal struggle. It's a thing because it is so tied to our identity.
Mhm.
So when we are experiencing hair loss, it can feel like I don't know who I am without this hair, without me being able to express it. Um, so yeah, it can be seen as a loss of power. I know.
Mhm.
And so my work is to help with that
Mhm.
transition. Oh, sidebar, I'm also a doula. So
Oh my gosh, girl. You're just like this healer. Like
yes,
you wanna heal and help.
yes.
I love
So,
that. Yes. Look
so
at
yeah,
you.
helping thank you.
Mhm.
But yeah, helping with transitions is something that I do. So this is just one of them.
Okay.
When people experience hair loss, it is a deeply emotional thing, but it also can be an empowering thing, and that's where the transmutation comes in, and that's what I like to focus on is how are we going to use this as an opportunity to elevate ourselves, to honor where it is you are, because whatever has happened has led you here.
Right. Mhm.
And so it's really acceptance at that point. Like, let's take it a step further and just honor where it is you are. Whether
Currently.
currently,
Mhm.
if it can be fixed, it can be fixed. If it cannot be fixed, well, then let's go ahead and work on our acceptance piece. And so again, it just goes straight back into the spiritual aspects and the soul level of how we feel beautiful. Because I think beautiful and feeling that way is really just feeling in alignment, feeling connected. So
Mhm.
when we feel disconnected, we feel like, oh, I'm not a I'm not identifying the way I want to. I can't express myself the way that I want to. I feel somehow disconnected from my purpose. It can be so many things.
Mhm.
And like I said, it's just about coming back to center and knowing where the connection actually is. And
Right.
yeah, just honoring the experience.
I love how you mentioned even if there is no solution to, you know, basically revive the hair follicle so that the hair can continue to grow.
Hmm.
You was like, that is also empowering as well if you can
Hmm.
really embrace that. You
Yeah.
know, that's
Yeah.
another self identity that you could really embark on. And I've seen so many women do it, you know, due to whatever reasons why, they lost their hair. The transition of watching these women grieve, go through all the emotions of grieving, like you mentioned about not feeling like self,
Yeah.
because of their hair loss, and then just acceptance and
Yeah.
then empowerment. And that's a lot, uh, whenever read these stories, whenever I watch these stories, I am just, you know, it would be hard for me,
Yeah.
I would, if I had no choice, yes, I would definitely, the goal would be to be empowered. I would not allow it to, um, push me in a place of hiding.
Yeah.
I would find ways to figure out how to accept it and move on. But I just love how you brought that to, the forefront,
Yeah.
where it's not even just stuck at the hair loss. Sometimes we learn to empower and embrace ourselves through just not being able to recover the hair loss altogether.
Yeah.
Some people they can do it, and some people it's really hard. They're still struggling.
Yeah.
I wish I could find someone who has embarked on that journey to talk on the podcast so they can speak about the experience,
For
to
real.
help women that are currently struggling trying to get to that place emotionally,
Yeah.
you know. So I love how you brought that up.
Yeah. It takes a lot of self-reflection from the women and men that I have talked to that have in real time experienced hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
It was always more about the soul level wellness when
Uh-huh.
it comes to hair loss specifically. Like, they have to go through a grieving time, they have to go through all of these different stages to be okay with the fact that they're losing this part of themselves. And what I've seen is that they really empower themselves with the idea of, like, this is just where I am, like, the
Mm-hmm.
just this is cool. Okay, next phase of life,
Yeah.
and not being so attached. Sometimes we be
Mm-hmm.
so attached to how we appear, but it's really
Mm-hmm.
about, like I said, that inner connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you share an example of how mindfulness and self care rituals have helped someone navigate hair loss?
Yeah. Um, so one woman that comes to mind, and this is one that now she does speak to hair loss with a very empowered perspective.
Mm,
But I remember when she first started to experience it, she had locks. And she would come into the salon and I would do her lock maintenance.
mhm.
And I remember just telling her, like, okay, I think, the edges are doing a thing. We're going to try this, we're going to try that.
Where they
And
were seated, where they were receding?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Mhm,
they were thinning and
mhm,
receding. And yeah, I let her know. I also was like, I think you should get your blood checked
mm,
and let's look into what you're doing nutritionally.
mhm.
Um, and so she did that. She went to the doctor, the dermatologist, to see what was going on. And it just was something that was happening. Like, they really couldn't figure out what was going on. And so it just continued to thin.
Mm,
And I worked with her on the nutritional aspect, but then there was things that started coming up through her process of finding out answers and coming to me and just doing the things that I would tell her to do at home,
Mhm. And you
where
were approaching it in, like, in a more herbal and holistic approach. What were
right.
some of those remedies that you were instructing her on?
Yeah, so some of those things where we were doing things like affirmations or mirror
Mm.
work. So I really wanted her to stay connected and grounded to herself throughout that transitional process of, okay, you might be losing your hair, or we may need to be making some changes that will require some sacrifice from you, at,
Mhm.
as in diet changes and things like that.
Mhm.
In doing that and going to the doctor,
Mhm.
she did start to see hair growth at that point.
Okay.
And so that was just one of those aspects where I'm like, okay, I think this might work. Like, like
Mhm.
she was taking it into a deeper layer instead of just focusing on the aesthetics of it. And she did. Hair is fully restored. Like she doesn't have
Mhm.
any issues. She did have to make some dietary changes. But she also did continue with like, okay, how do I empower myself with these affirmations? How do I even begin to embody them? She started to dance. She started to do things that brought her joy. Because
Mhm.
before, I think she was stressed. She had a lot going
Mhm.
on. So it's that complete and total concern that we have to have, and just the full embodiment of what it means to be whole
Mhm.
is is deeply integral to how our hair show up.
Mhm, for sure. So it sounded like the root cause may have been, like, lifestyle, maybe?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
yeah.
because you said there was nothing in her blood work, and see
Mhm.
how important lifestyle can affect your hair, you
Yeah,
know? It
yeah.
really can. You can be completely healthy from the inside, but mindfully.
It's mind,
Mm.
body connection.
Absolutely will cause you to lose your hair. Uh,
Yes.
you know, it's
Literally, you gotta
mhm,
let that go. It's literally taken from your beauty at this point.
mhm, absolutely.
You see? Mhm.
What are some common root causes of hair loss that people might not be aware of?
Definitely stress.
Mhm. Yep.
Definitely stress. Um, it definitely starves the hair follicles of nutrients,
Mm.
um, hormonal imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, scalp inflammation, as we all know.
Mhm.
And that can be for many things, internal and external. We have the tight hairstyles and
Right.
uh glue wigs on the forehead. Like there's so many things there. The heaviness and weight of our hair, in
Mm.
certain styles, locks. I see that with locks too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, those are the main
Those are
culprits.
the main causes. That's what I see in my chair too. Like, definitely a bunch of traction alopecia from
Mm-hmm.
the tight hairstyles,
Yes,
or the lace front wigs. The perimeter is just gone.
yes.
But the rest of the hair is just growing and flourishing. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of
It
traction
affects like
alopecia.
1/3 of Black women.
Mhm. I
So
didn't know
yeah.
the math, so thank you for putting out the numbers,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But, that's what I see mostly, traction alopecia,
Mhm.
as far as hair loss go,
Yeah.
and sometimes stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, mhm,
Definitely stress. I think I see more of the stress working in textured hair, natural hair. Like
mhm.
a lot of my work is working with the natural hair. So um yeah, stress is a huge one that I see.
Right,
And
mhm.
that's where I'm able to address that. Because obviously, with health concerns, there's only so much we can do.
Right.
But yeah, the stress is the main thing. So I'm like stressing mindfulness to them, like, okay, can you
Mhm.
please just for 5 minutes, if you could just do a deep breathing exercise before you go to work.
Like
Like,
work-related stress.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
every day for them. That's a lot, you know?
Yes.
Mhm.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some beauty rituals that support both emotional healing and hair health?
Mm, um, there's so many things that come to mind.
Girl, give us one. Just give us one. One that
But,
you seen had the most effect on your clients.
mm, one thing is, like I said, mirror work and affirmations.
What are some
Wow.
affirmations that you um do they come up with these affirmations on their own, or do you have like a booklet of, or like a notepad of affirmations that you give out depending on what the story is that you are hearing behind the chair?
Yeah. So a lot of times it's intuitive. I'll send it to them directly from my mind and spirit
Okay.
to theirs. Yeah, so it's a little bit
Mhm.
of channeling that message of, like, what do they need right now? So it's that connection. Because while you're talking about things, I'm listening, and for me, with my gifts, I can hear and know things. Um,
Oh, okay.
so for me, it's a lot of times more intuitive of like, "Okay, this is what you should do." And
Mhm.
that's why I said there's so many things that come to mind, but
Right.
one of the things that come up the most common is, mirror work and affirmations, um, to for them to, like, actually do work around how they see themselves.
Mhm.
Um, and that is magical, just that alone, because
Mhm.
we're told how we should see ourselves a lot of the times, or
Right.
we're going through, like we said, transitions where our how we see ourselves is changing. And so just being able to affirm ourselves, and make ritual out of it. Like, this is
Right.
what I'm going to do every single day, or I have my certain days of the week, where I affirm myself, where I hold myself. Um, but also, there's things like I make a herbal hair tea where you can use that, and it has herbs and ingredients that help to stimulate the follicles and do the things on that um, level. And then there's also spiritual components of like, okay, this is a clear mind blend. So I want you to use this and your affirmations, and I want you to practice mindfulness. So it's a holistic thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I love that. So the herbal tea, are they to drink it or they apply it to their hair? Or they could
You
do
apply
either
to your
or?
hair.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All
There
right.
are there are blends that I make for internal consumption, but, yeah, I was talking about the hair tea that you can put on your
Mhm.
hair and
Mhm.
kinda do it, like, in between your conditioner, deep conditioner, or treatment mask. You would just rinse it.
Mhm. It's like a rinse I take, like
Yeah.
kinda like a
Yep.
rinse? Okay. And, with the tea, the way how you incorporate the ingredients, is it based on the client's situation or whatever they're experiencing? So it's not like a all-in-one, it's catered and customized for that particular client for their specific needs?
Yeah, for the
Okay.
most part, but I
Mhm.
do have a blend that I sell that is just a all-in-one,
Okay.
um, like a basic formula, but yeah, if someone needed a little bit more, they could definitely get a custom.
What is the name of the one that you sell?
Clear mind.
Clear Mind, okay. Just gotta
Yeah.
put that out there just in case someone wanna purchase,
Yes.
what is the info? We need it.
Yes, and yeah, so I'll be posting more about it here, in the next couple weeks, so yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. How can aromatherapy or essential oils be used to support hair and emotional well-being?
I'm sorry, repeat that question. One
How can aromatherapy or essential oils be used to support hair and
more.
emotional well-being?
Yes, love essential oils. I have them
Okay.
all in the space.
Do you
I
have
have them
favorite
now.
ones?
I do.
Okay.
I love lemongrass.
Me too. I think it's
I
my
love
favorite. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it's so energizing, it just makes you
Mhm.
happy, like, yes.
Mhm.
That one, and I do use a lot of peppermint and lavender
Mhm.
in the salon,
Yeah.
so, yeah, for the calming and the clarity. I like the peppermint for the tingly feeling,
Right.
stimulating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I've been to a place where it's a clean salon, no
Mm,
chemicals. And I really enjoyed the shampoo session. And she also
mhm.
did mind work while I was there. Yeah,
Tell
she
me.
did. She did a lot of mind work. A lot of it's been so long, but you know how you align your chakras, she
Mhm.
did chakra work.
Is it Reiki?
Yes, it
Ah,
was.
ah,
Mhm. And I also got my hair done. So it was just like
I love that.
it was
Mhm.
amazing, yeah. And, what I really loved was, like, her intentionally just it's so simple, but just taking a little bit of peppermint oil, rubbing
Yes,
it in her hands, and just,
yes,
basically just moving it around my face so I can inhale it and then begin to relax so she could do the work.
yes.
And,
I do that during my, scalp facials, so they
yes.
get to experience that aromatherapy, like, "Okay, we're gonna move into this next section," and people love
Mhm,
that.
they
They be
do.
like, "Oh."
It's an entire experience.
Mhm.
And I do believe receiving that level of intentional care, not only just from your hair, but also from your mind, like you've been talking about mindfulness, spiritual
Yes,
connection to yourself from within, that can relieve so much cortisol.
yes.
You could really learn a lot from these sessions and, try to adapt these to your day to day life. But I think that's like a really great way of self care to make sure if you are experiencing hair loss due to stress, that
Mhm.
is like one of the best things that you like invest in a stylist that's offering it.
Yes,
Invest in a
yes.
stylist that's offering those types of, healings.
Mhm.
I think that would be so great, especially if it's nothing else. It's like you're just stressed. That's
Yes.
literally it. And I believe some people can hold on to their hair and still be stressed. I think it
Mhm.
definitely depends on the biology of whatever it is that takes up to make up your integumentary system.
Yeah,
but
for real, for real.
but yeah, I think that would be so great for someone who is just it's just stress. Nothing in your
Yeah,
blood, nothing in your health. I think that would
yeah.
be like a great recommendation.
Well, I, have a background in aesthetics as well, and
Mm.
one of the things that we learn as an esthetician is that 90% of the things that we see on the skin are results of inflammation. And
Mm.
inflammation, one of the culprits, the response of inflammation, first of all, is stress. So stress not only on an external level, but stress internal. That's why we have to go into the nutrition. That's why we have to go into the diet because what are you even eating that stress you out and raising your cortisol level?
Yeah.
So for me,
Mm.
that's why it goes a little deeper because the understanding of what inflammation even is, and we could
Right.
think like, oh, that's just a health issue, and now it's separate. No, bring it right back
Mm.
because how did we get to that health issue?
Right, right.
And we have to get to diet, we gotta get to nutrition, then we gotta get into, okay, well, you in the food desert, we looking at the political things of it, like,
Right, right,
okay, so
right.
what changes do you need to make? Um,
Mhm.
these things have always been a thing for us, like, you hear, Madam CJ Walker and how she came to make her product, she was addressing scalp issues.
Right.
We still have scalp
We
issues.
still have scalp issues.
Hair loss. She was
Mhm.
addressing that.
Yeah.
So these things have always been a thing from different angles. So,
Mhm.
yeah, just being mindful as practitioners, that, it's just deeper.
It sure is.
Yep.
With you, you do offer locks as a service at your salon, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, do you ever experience where you have a client where at the base is thinning and they
Mhm.
are experiencing hair loss?
Yep.
And, of course, down the shaft of that lock is heavy.
Mhm.
In your practice, have you noticed that it's because the lock is heavy and it's thinning the hair at the base, or is it that the hair is just not growing in as dense as it was once before, or both?
Yeah, mostly that there's been a
Mhm.
shift in the, hair growth.
Mm.
Um, I don't I mean, if their hair is, like, really long, I'll start to see that traction alopecia, but
Mhm.
otherwise, I honestly see more of where the hair growth has just shifted throughout the process, and that could be for a couple reasons. I know a lot of times with Black men
Mhm.
and their, locks, I see a lot of, and I forget the name is
Is it
not coming
DHT?
to me. No,
No.
there's a condition that I've learned about where the psychological, disorder that is going on is that they are twisting their hair back and forth because of
Oh,
anxiety.
right. Yeah, for
The name is
soothing. For soothing.
for soothing, and so
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
actually what I see the most in, Black men with locks, is it's anxiety, and I'm just twisting, twisting,
And they
twisting, twisting.
stressing those follicles out.
Yes.
Mm.
So, and it's breaking off, it's just
Mhm.
go ahead and break off. I had one client who had his whole side was pretty much gone, and as I'm, like, looking at him, like, "Okay," and he brought in a bag of locks, like, "Can you repair
Oh
these?"
my gosh. Oh, so you do, repairing too.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, and, he sat on there, and we both just looked at each other, I said, "So what is this?"
Right, what you been doing? What you been doing?
What's going on? And
Yeah.
so I started to ask some questions. 'Cause I'm like, "Okay, so what you eating? What you this? Okay, cool.
Right.
How you feeling? All right." And as we began to talk, and he's talking about just where he is in life and, considering getting married and the stress of that. And, I'm in this transition. I'm a new father. I'm like, okay. Um, Making ends meet, like all these things. Okay, stress. Okay, how do you deal with that stress? And he like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing the things that I normally would do. So as we're talking, I just noticed that he has what I would consider like anxiety.
Mhm.
And I have been trained through psychotherapy to understand mental health through
Hair.
hair.
Mm.
Mhm. And so I was able to identify that, and I was like, do you experience anxiety at any point? And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, bad. My anxiety bad, and I'm like, I said,
I'm not
oh, well,
laughing at his struggle, I'm just laughing at the
no,
delivery because it's just I feel like
that's how
it's
we thought.
that's how we talk. That it's bad. It's bad, Oh my gosh.
About it's bad, man. I said, okay, so what do we do? What you been doing? You been doing your music? I know you into music. Nah, I ain't doing
Mhm.
that. I said, oh, okay. I said, so you sleep on this side? He talking about no, I just be playing with my hair. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, so this is that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's so many layers. We gotta know what questions
Mhm.
to ask
You
because I
do.
said,
You
yeah,
absolutely do. It's always backtracking. You have to backtrack in order to find the root cause in order to even fix the problem and provide a
for real,
solution.
for
And
real,
that consultation, you can be there for a good 30 minutes trying to figure out what is the problem because you can't help
for
them
real.
if you can't backtrack. If they don't recall, remember what they do. And sometimes you do this so mindlessly when you're
Mm-hmm.
twirling in your hair. That's a
It's completely
mindless
mindless.
thing. Even I
Mm-hmm.
do it at the back of my neck. It's so soothing.
Black women too. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's very soothing. I blame my cousin though because when I was little, like she was my older cousin. She was more like a big sister, and she would play in my hair, and she always would take the neck area and like give me little strokes. And it's
Oh,
so soothing. So now I do
and
it to myself.
it really is a thing, like, when we, look at the hair from a scientific perspective, like,
Mhm.
this literally is our extension of our nervous system.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
it literally goes up there, like, it makes
Right.
sense,
It
yeah.
makes so much sense. I still blame her though, because I'm like, if she never done that, I would have never been, so
Exposed,
inclined
would have
to.
never been exposed.
Right. And it feels great. And then I have to be like, stop, you know,
Yeah.
because I
I
know.
mean, it's just a thing, I
Mhm.
don't be like, "Okay, stop doing that," because I understand.
Mhm.
It's a soothing thing, but if
Yeah.
you could find a little spot just
Mhm. Yeah. Even with my clients, they'll be sitting in the chair and we're consulting, and I'll see them grab like that sideburn area and they're
yes,
just twirling. I'll be like, stop,
like,
stop. They
please.
be like, okay, okay, I quit, I quit, I quit. You know?
I just had to lay it out, like, I understand this, but this is the
Mhm.
result, so I just want you to be aware,
Right.
and you make your choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you can do because when they leave,
Yeah,
it's only so much we can do.
yeah.
You just hope
I
that
I
they,
did I did suggest he go see a therapist,
yeah.
like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to get back grounded, some stuff is so temporary, especially like getting married. One day you're
Mhm.
gonna be married, so that stress will be gone.
Yeah.
Stepping into fatherhood, I think that's gonna be a forever stressor.
Mhm. It is. You gotta learn how to manage your stress at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, transition, it is what it is,
Yes.
so oh
Yes.
gosh.
Yep, go ahead and accept this where you at.
For real.
Yeah.
What's the importance of hydration and detoxification in maintaining healthy hair?
Uh, Definitely water is life,
Yeah, for sure. How do
you
you feel
know?
about oils? Because there is so much controversy on the internet amongst the black hair community where it's like, don't use pomades, don't use oils. This is suffocating your scalp.
Uh,
This is suffocating your hair, and da 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 da. Da. It's so
yeah,
much, right?
and,
Tell me what you think about that.
I feel like we shouldn't throw the baby out with the baby bath water.
Mm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that there's reason we have always used butters, oils, and I think that it's still relevant. I
Me
think
too.
yeah, like, what the heck? We got
Yeah.
that's part of our hair ritual. Another thing is the science of how this works, okay? We
Mhm.
have the hydration, and now, yes, you have to seal in that moisture or you'll
Mhm.
experience, water loss. We don't want that.
Mhm. Right,
Especially
right.
when we're in, conditions where it's warmer or even extreme cold. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
environmental is
that's
very important to consider for sure. Yeah. Mhm.
I think it has a lot to do with that. If you in a place where it's super warm, okay, maybe you just use a oil, not a pomade, like
Mhm.
but I think that there's still room for it. We
I
know
do
that.
too. I do. I believe there's a lot of room for it. Depending on it's all circumstantial.
Yeah,
It is depending on what the hair needs in the moment. I know there's a lot of curly hair professionals who are completely against it. They're mostly curly hair professionals.
right.
And,
Which
in
is
some
different.
cases, I can understand why they
Mhm,
feel this way.
mhm,
However, for us kinky coily girls,
mhm,
where our hair is so vulnerable
mhm.
and it lacks so much moisture because it's so kinky and coily, it's really challenging to moisturize because these curls are running in so many different directions. Unlike if
Mhm.
it's a looser pattern, you can just apply it, move on, hair stays moisturized.
Literally.
And
Different strokes for different folks.
yeah, absolutely, And so when they push the narrative sometimes it's like I don't disagree, but I
Mhm.
don't agree either. It just depends on what the client needs. Most of black women, we're looking for length and density retention. We're
Yeah,
not really focused on curly hair. That's usually not the number one priority for black women. So
yeah,
you cannot push that narrative depending on the goal for the client, you know?
yeah.
And,
Yeah,
yeah, now if you wanna embrace your curls, I would say no because pomades are heavy.
it's gonna be heavy.
It's heavy. It can also stretch the curl pattern because it is so heavy.
Mhm.
Um, it can suffocate it a little too, depending
Yeah,
on,
depends on where you at and what you want, what's your
right,
desire, so there literally is different strokes for different folks depending
right.
on what your goal is.
Like, I would not recommend you to not use oil and you have locks. I
Like,
would
that's
not do that.
crazy work.
I wouldn't do that. I would not do that.
No, go ahead and lock that in. Lock
Right.
that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, but I will say, making sure it's the right ingredients, like
Absolutely. Thank you for touching on that too. Come on, keep going.
yeah, yeah. So, like, our head is very, very, precious, and so we don't wanna our follicles, they go right into the bloodstream, go,
Mhm,
so on and so
mhm.
forth. So we wanna make sure that it's medicine going in.
Mhm.
We wanna make sure that it's not toxic to our
Right.
system, our endocrine disruptors and things like that. We don't want that. So yeah, we wanna make sure that it is medicine that's going in or something that actually can be used by the body.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
For someone struggling with hair loss, where do you recommend they start their healing journey?
Mm, definitely start with grace.
Ooh, I love that.
Start with acceptance. Start with um courage.
Mhm.
Be gentle with yourself. Um, look at what's happening internally and externally. Look at where you are in life. Look around and really take into account what that means for you and why certain things are showing up. Stress, diet, health. Uh, but yeah, most importantly, small changes done consistently create big transformations. Uh, So, yeah, starting with small things, just shifting the diet, shifting stress levels, doing things that honor you. And that may even be making that appointment to go see the dermatologist or go see
Right.
the doctor to address maybe finally a issue that you have been carrying.
Right.
So yeah, I would say start with grace.
Mhm. Absolutely, because we can be so hard on ourselves. And, I know you mentioned shame earlier. Like, you start to
Mhm.
feel shame. And then you also, like, kinda self-blaming, like, "What did I do?"
Yeah,
Or what I didn't do, like,
yeah.
going through that mind space
'Cause I
too.
must have did something wrong.
Right, so that's why when you mention grace, I'm like, yes, grace is very important whenever you are experiencing, an impact such as hair loss.
Yeah,
You gotta be patient with yourself and
yes.
be nice to yourself. Like you mentioned, be gentle,
Yeah.
all those things that you mentioned. And even for my girls who are trying to accept wearing their natural curly hair, because that's a whole
Mhm.
transformation within itself, I
Yes.
always, "Oh, hi."
Close the door, please. My children.
I love it. We keeping that in, okay? It don't supposed to be perfect. I love that. I wish he woulda said something.
I know. Hold
Um,
on 1 month, 1
okay.
minute. I don't wanna mess up the recording.
It's okay. We're almost done anyway.
Okay, can you hear them?
Yeah. It's okay.
This is my real life. I'm a
No,
mommy.
yeah, we're gonna leave that. I love it. We're gonna leave it. I'm not even gonna tell Bryce to cut it. It's
Hey,
like, keep
this
it
is real
rolling.
life. This
Yeah,
real
keep
life.
it rolling. This is a raw footage that y'all are receiving
Hey,
right now.
listen, this is real. This is who I am.
Yeah, we're not cutting that at all.
Yeah.
Um, What's one key piece of advice you would give to someone who feels discouraged about their hair?
Mm, um, back to grace, but
Mhm.
also approaching the journey with patience and love. Um, and just knowing that, like, you are a whole person, like, how you are showing up isn't even scratching the surface of all that you are, so
Right.
taking that power back, um, to say whatever.
Mhm.
It's however I look today is okay, like, it's fine,
Right. Mhm.
because this is me, real life. Like,
Right.
this is really a journey. So,
Mhm.
yeah, just patience and love on yourself.
Right. Do you ever have to share hair stories to let them know you're not alone? Have you ever had to share a hair story to make them feel relatable so it can
Yeah.
help, with also moving forward in this new journey?
Yeah, I share my own stories,
So you suffer from hair loss?
not, hair loss.
Mhm.
Um, I did suffer a bit of, not like complete hair loss. I have suffered from, like, postpartum hair loss.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, that I talk about all the time
Can
with
you
clients.
share that story? Like, walk us through your story, of how you dealt with that emotionally, and even though it's temporary,
It's still a thing.
it's still a part of what you experience, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
feel good in the moment,
no,
you know.
it can be shocking. It can be shocking, especially, that's one thing that people don't really tell you when
Hmm.
you have kids, like,
Right?
it's
They don't tell you. Your hair just
yeah,
fall out, and you're like, "Why is my hair falling out?"
you see, like, "Wait, y'all didn't tell me that, hold on."
Right. Right.
So, that was kinda shocking, but once I got over the shock of, "Oh my god, is this happening?" Because I think for me, it took a minute to really see that that's what it is.
Right.
Because I was like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe my hairstyle just not popping the way I want it to." Like,
Yeah. Where did you notice the hair loss first? Was it around your
it just
perimeter?
mhm.
Yeah, that's where mine was too. It started around my
Yeah,
perimeter.
and this area of the, uh, temple area, the
Right.
edge right there, that is when you look at, traditional Chinese medicine or
Right.
even African traditional medicine,
Mm.
they can break down the head into quadrants where, um, they are representative of certain parts of the body.
Right.
And so when you get into this area where a lot of postpartum loss happens, that is actually it's telling you specifically a hormonal thing.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so for
Mhm.
me, it was like, "Oh, okay. I see, I know, and now I'm going to address it." So I actually started to do, like, hormonal therapy with herbs. Um,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, I started to incorporate more, like, maca root,
Mhm.
into my diet, into my supplements. I started to use horsetail.
Oh,
Um
yeah. It's a
Yeah,
good one. Yeah.
that's a good one, that's a good
Mhm, it sure is.
Um, so doing things like that, ashwagandha for the mood and for the hormones as well.
Yes. Yep.
But yeah,
Mhm.
started to do that, and
Mhm.
also I just had to really accept that that was a part of the journey that I was currently on. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I did just give life, and so
Mhm.
I'm not gonna focus on this loss as a loss, but rather a omen that I have passed through this rite of passage.
Right.
Like like
Yeah.
this is kinda what happened, and it
Mhm.
it made me, like I said, think about how I'm caring for myself, and so it was always it turned into a deeper thing because how am I caring for myself now that I've given life?
Mhm.
So, let me put back my nutrients, let me put back my stuff and really take my time, and my hair grew right back.
Right, and it will.
Yeah.
I advise my clients it may be something, it's just a part of your journey.
Yeah.
I try to advise them to keep taking hair vitamins, but even hair vitamins still will
Takes a minute.
it takes a minute, and sometimes it just don't work.
Yeah,
and I just always have to remind them that it will pass,
it will.
it will pass. For me, I cut my hair. I was just not dealing with all of the breakage. I couldn't, it was like an
I
eyesore.
did too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was like an eyesore. The hair is extremely combative. It
Yes.
don't want to behave. You can't style it. It don't lay down right. It's too weak and vulnerable to get to receive hairstyles with tension. So you really just need to leave it alone.
Yep, literally.
Yeah.
Release the control, that's another thing.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
this is just what's happening,
Yeah.
acceptance. Like, I did cut the sides of my hair off, and I was like, "You know what? We just gonna rock this mohawk,
Right.
and Imma do all the things," and still, when I go out, people like, "What?
I
Who
love
did your
your
hair?"
hair. Yeah.
Right. And so it actually empowered me. I turned you can turn it into this thing where actually I'm gonna embrace it. I
Mhm.
got different earrings now. I'm about to adorn
Right.
myself. Like, this is just
Mhm.
what it is.
It's
So,
it's
I
such an experiment once you empower
yeah,
it. If you just
yes,
let it be, you be surprised once you let go of that control, like you mentioned. You be surprised how creative your brain can get
such
when
as
you
like
when you just let it go. Because I never thought in a million years that I would ever rock a pixie. By
see,
choice, I would never rock a
and I know
pixie
it was
haircut.
cute.
It was super cute. When she got done, I loved it. It was
Mhm.
hard. It was just trying to adjust to the new look.
Yeah.
But and I loved it even more as it grew out because I had the longer bangs and I kept the back and the sides tapered
Okay,
and I had like a Justin Bieber look going on. It was just
okay.
more of a feminine touch though. And
Said the bang.
I received so many compliments.
Yes.
And I would wear these cute little fedora hats and go buy jewelry.
Mhm.
It was just like I was just adding to that aesthetic and I really embraced it. It was hard, but I
Yeah,
managed to get through it,
yeah.
and
And
it all worked
that's
out.
it. It's a journey. So you go through the process of, "Okay, how do I find my power in this?"
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna rock it. Imma do this, Imma do that, but yeah, it's still a journey. You still may have those moments of sadness, still may experience that
Right.
grief.
Right.
So yeah, but it is a journey that you will get over and get through.
Mhm. Mhm. And the hair
So
will
know
grow
that.
back because it's
Yeah,
postpartum.
it's
It's
postpartum.
it's temporary, so it will grow back.
Yes,
Yeah.
just find something to do in between.
Mhm. For
But yeah,
sure.
yeah.
How can people connect with you and learn more about your work?
So right now you can follow me on Instagram at the root and honey. Um, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. You can book a session,
Mhm.
or you can join one of my upcoming workshops. I actually am doing a workshop with a lovely Black woman therapist and partner with another co-stylist to do a series called Black Women in Mental Health, where we'll be
Mhm.
discussing Black women, mental health, and hair. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it rolling. So yeah, follow me on Instagram.
Mhm. Website information,
Yeah.
TikToks.
So I don't have a website right now,
Mhm.
but working on that.
Mhm.
Like I said, I do have the products and things. They've been sold locally, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm actually expanding to online this
Okay.
spring. So
It's a lot of work, huh?
lots of work.
Yeah, I've been there. That's why I stopped. I was like, I'm good. I'm tired.
Yeah, and you know what? For me, it's about balance with everything that I'm doing. So I don't put too much on myself. So I'm like, it's small batch, handcrafted.
I love that.
Get what I can
Mm.
give.
That's right, and that's the only way quality results are produced. Let's
Exactly.
just be honest, and it's
Exactly.
it's a lot for us to balance. We wear so many hats behind that chair,
Yeah.
so I love the fact that your balance is so intentional, and you are also very aware
Mhm.
of you needing that balance, and it's not about just pushing something out. You want it to be right, so that the customer or whoever is going to invest in you, they're receiving it at top tier.
Yes, that's most
Mhm.
important to me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for carving time out of your beautiful Sunday because I see the sun coming
Oh,
in
yes,
through the window. So I know it's a
yes.
beautiful Sunday for y'all.
It's sunny, but it's snowy out here in Detroit.
Oh,
We in a
really?
windstorm. Yes.
Oh, it's cold today, but it's not snow. I mean, it's Texas, so.
Y Yeah, yeah. I wish I could enjoy that heat that y'all
No, you
have.
don't.
You said no?
No, you do not. It is life-threatening. Let me
Oh
tell you,
god.
it is life-threatening. I'm not during the summer, we barely make it.
But listen, that cold, Detroit, oh my god.
Mhm. Yeah.
You gotta get in the car and be like, "Dang."
Yeah. Well, hopefully some of that sun melted a little bit, so
I
yeah.
hope so.
Yeah, so y'all can get out and enjoy some of that beautiful, refreshing air. It's nothing
Yeah,
like it.
nothing like it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
What an enlightening conversation. A huge thank you to Empress for sharing her wisdom on the power of holistic beauty and the deeper connections we have with our hair. Her insights on mindful self-care, herbal remedies, and creating intentional beauty spaces truly show how hair is more than just an aesthetic. It's a reflection of our inner and outer well-being. If you love this episode, be sure to check out Empress' work through Root and Honey, where she continues to educate and inspire through beauty and wellness. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share Hear What I'm Saying with fellow beauty lovers. Until next time, take care of yourself and your hair with intention. See you soon.